I think a lot of people have forgotten that the Angus cattle are named after the actual county. And we live in the centre of this county.
I'm a native of Angus, as these cattle are. And when we started, there was less than 150 native Angus breeding females left in the world. A few years later, they would have been gone, and you can never get them back. It was a testimony to our forebearers. They made these cattle and brought the world teeming here. The founding father of the Angus breed is recognised as Hugh Watson of Keeler Farm. They began to diligently record the breeding patterns of the cattle. Initially, they would be handwritten in big ledgers. By the mid-1800s, they compiled a herd book, and thereafter, every year, a herd book was published with any registered animals bought in that year, the cow families that are now well known round the world. 8 of them started here in the county of Angus. Behind us here are the glens of Angus. This is the range of the hills, the foothills of the Grampians. Some very austere countryside, but that's where a lot of these Angus cattle originated.
In Scotland, we have over 11,000 tartans, and they're usually affiliated with family names. So we came up with the idea that we would create the Dunlouise tartan. We made it more about the county of Angus. So we have white to represent the snow-covered Grampian Mountains, and it runs down to the blue of the North Sea. On the sides of the hills, we have the purple-coloured heather. We then have lush green grass, and it is famous for the soft fruit growing, so things like strawberries, raspberries. So we have this, what I'm calling a raspberry colour.
This farm would be put together same time as the first herd week principally. It constitutes 135 acres, fairly small fields divided by stone fences or stone walls which have been there for 200 years. These stone buildings with blue slate roofs, they come from the time of horses and carts, and a multitude of staff with wheelbarrows. Because our farm is not large, we have no four-wheelers, no horses. We handle our cattle on foot.
And we have the Dunlouise herd. That's my husband, Geordie, and myself. And we have 2 children, Duncan and Louise, hence the name Dunlouise for our prefix, for our herd name. There are only chiefs in this family, and so we have this rule where inside the garden walls I'm in charge, and outside the garden walls Geordie is in charge. How would I describe Geordie? Okay, I have a phrase that we're all going to be a long time dead. And so while we're here, everybody should be passionate about somebody and about something.
We bought this farm in 1990, and after a few years of commercial cattle, we decided that we were going to breed pedigree Aberdeen Angus.
And when he went to sales and looked at the current Angus cattle, he started to hunt for the shorter leg, deeper bodied, triangular faced cattle that he remembered from his youth.
And that led on to specialising in the original native genetics. It didn't start out as a mission, but it very quickly became that. I'm a native of Angus, as these cattle are, and when we started this, there was less than 150 native Angus breeding females left in the world. So it was on their critically endangered list, which is the highest category of all. A few years later, they would have been gone, and you can never get them back. We set out to collect the remaining cow families that were left in existence. In some cases, there were only 2 left. So we had to start with what was there.
We knew fairly quickly that we had the potential of quite a unique product, and it was just really at the start of families getting home computers. Could we somehow use this computer that had arrived in a TNT box and I'd assembled and on a wing and a prayer? There were no corner shops that you could walk into and get someone to write a website for you. And I actually just did an A4 page, and that was the way we let everybody know what a great product that Geordie had.
It was very much walking into the wind. Other people saw it in the early stages as a little bit of a joke. The perception, the genetics, there were a few holes in the road, there is no question. But as time went on, people then came back. Once they'd used these animals, they could see the virtues that they had. The momentum was sort of underway, and it just kept increasing.
Wouldn't it be neat, as he put it, to have a native Angus sale in the middle of the county of Angus, where it all began? And we've had plenty of time to think and plan. But of course, it's not usual in this country to do on-farm sales. In fact, it's unheard of.
I wanted to do it on farm, and believe you me, there have been several times I wondered the wisdom of that. I'm also a native of this county. I was born here in this county, and I wanted to do this back here and say we overlook these magnificent hills, and it was important to me.
So it meant starting from scratch, building a sail ring, building a rostrum, bringing in the tiered standing. Every single detail he has picked through. It seemed to catch the imagination of friends and family from the very beginning.
And because of the network we have here, it's all people we know that pitched in to make this day.
God help you out, 2009, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000 get away, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000 get away, and people are asleep. 5,004, you know the breed, you know the bloodline, you've seen the cattle, and 5,004, and 5,400.
I'm just so pleased that the day went well for him. You stick your head above the parapet, you're doing something a little different. There was an awful lot going on that day.
It was so heartening to see people from different parts of the world come across, hold out their hand and address you by your name. And you think, hey, we're just a wee farm in the county of Angus.
I'm not sure what path my life would have taken had Geordie not started to collect up these native Angus.
It has been a truly, truly magnificent journey. It really has. I find it just absolutely amazing, the people that come and have embraced what we are doing and the ethos of what we are doing, which is exactly what our forebears did many years ago. And of course now these cattle, these native cattle, are scattered all around the world, so they are no longer endangered.